have to start there. They have to understand the general athlete, but at the end, you have to specialize. The same thing with us. We cannot just go out there and just treat everybody the same. Abby, you and I, for the people that are listening, you and I talked about this the other day. Treating everybody as equals is the biggest inequality of life. You cannot. We treat everybody with respect and love and care and time, but we cannot trade one athlete, for example, this specific athlete as a ITF junior trying to transition post-puberty, to treat him the same as we're going to treat a 10-year-old orange ball player. You cannot. Or the same thing, a 16-year-old player that's not at his level or it's above his level. You cannot. We have to understand where they're at in growth and maturation. We have to understand where they're at when it comes to their experience as a player, so the athletic age, and we have to understand what skill level.
When the muscles are developed and underdeveloped, for maybe every player is different issue.
No, I disagree. Completely disagree. Okay, in this sense, we as coaches, excuse me, we as players, we pretty much are doing the same thing to an extent. Now, some of us would be hitting more forehand, some of us would be hitting more backhand, some of us might be hitting more, so on and so forth, fine. But the general movement of the body for a high-level tennis player is basically the same. Okay, so now we know, for example, if there's a depression on the scapula, we know they will struggle with the serve. We just know this. The range of motion that is required for the serve, the ball and socket joint, okay, who has a relationship with that right squat or right scap, okay, in my case, or the dominant scap, they're not going to be able to do it. So according to how we screen them, right away, we know how it's going to affect them on the tennis court. Does that make sense? All right. So now as we look at the player here, we see what kind of screening we do. We have a front side, we have a right side, we have a left side, we have the back side, and then you put him into a position of stress. We have a full squat here front, full squat to the right, full squat to the left, and we also have the single leg squat, which you guys saw already in the presentation, and the left side also. Just by knowing where he's doing well or where he struggles, we'll know what part of the game technically he will struggle in. So before we ever get to the technical component, we take a look at his anatomical and biomechanical components and decide how do we plan his session. Let's get to just the last part of the screening here. And I want you guys to take a look at that right knee, as Abby pointed out, the right knee really comes into the left side. Okay, and he's trying to balance by shifting the body over to the right. We know here, as the knees come in, this is what we call knee valgus. Okay, so that's when the knees come in this way. Okay, that he will struggle when it comes to the hip. And the hip, now the hip abductor. The hip abductor, so right now he's going to struggle with actually taking the leg and bringing it out. That's going to affect a couple of things. One of them is going to affect how he explodes to the ball, because he's going to struggle bringing the segment of the body, okay, away from the body. So we know we have to work on his hips and his glutes. Just because here, when he does a single leg squat, let me grab onto this to show you, he comes in. We have to make sure we get him back out, okay? And that's going to help us understand that the hip abductor now is going to be strong. That's going to help us push, and also it's going to help us decelerate as well. If he had the opposite problem and the knee went out, okay, then he's not a knee valgus, he's a knee varus. Okay, on that one, we know the inside, okay, the hip adductor, the stuff that brings things in, okay, is struggling. He's gonna struggle in decelerating a lot as well. So this is why it's important for us to know with the screening how that's going to affect the shot.
For the screening, which major area are we going to focus when taking photos?
This is why this is a great template just to do for us right now. Now we get to, as he gets a little bit more advanced, we go into a lot more screening. But for the general tennis athlete right now, the general high-level tennis athlete, this is enough, Abby. This is enough. If you go now to the beginning, like we said, you get his front to understand how his shoulders are doing, how his hips are aligned, and to start thinking about exercises to kind of really level him out. Anatomically, you want him to be balanced all the way through. That's just the general side. As we get now to, you get to his right side, you see how the shoulders now, we go around the shoulders are going forward. So we know right away that actually, again, he's got to work on his back. He needs to be here. As tennis players, we're extremely overdeveloped on the interior side, on the front. So right away, he paints the picture of most players anywhere in the world that play at a decent level, because he is underdeveloped when it comes to his back. So we use the right and left to see how his shoulders are doing, to really affirm that he needs to be working on the back. Then you look at the back itself and you see how the scap is completely, one is depressed and the other one's elevated. So we need to make sure we really balance this out. Really the tennis athlete, but just the general athlete. We love to see now him in positions of stress to see a couple of things. One of them, like you said, are the shoulders even, are the hips even, everything we talked about, but now truly how the feet are. His feet are very good on the ground in every picture. Okay, so he doesn't have pronation or supination when it comes to the feet. So a lot of players, when they go down, they'll start putting stress on one side of the foot, okay, or the other. So if they're supinating, they put pressure on the outside of the feet. So imagine putting pressure on your pinky toes. Compared to pronating, you start putting pressure when it comes to more of the big toe. And that's going to affect your ankle mobility and stability. Right now, Shambhog actually does a hell of a job right now with the feet. They're completely very neutral from knee to ankle. His feet right now have very similar pressure all through the foot. We've had the opportunity in the past with other players to use press plates, and actually they put the foot on the ground, and we're able to see how much pressure they put on the foot itself. But this is something basic, something simple. A little trick for you guys: if you're able to do this on the court, okay, especially after they warm up, you want them actually to warm up and be somewhat loose when they do this, and they put the feet down on the ground, and then you ask them to move. You're able to see actually through the sweat on the ground, you get to see the imprint of the foot, and you get to see where exactly do they put pressure. So if you see the whole entire foot, you know it's pretty balanced all the way through the surface area of the foot and the ground. The relationship is here. But then sometimes, of course, you might only get a little bit more of the pinky toe, and you don't see the big toe. You know the player supinated. If you see the big toe, you don't see the little toe, you know they're pronated. So again, now we do the same thing. We put them under stress on both sides with a squat. And then we absolutely have to do this when it comes to your single leg squat to see how the hip abductors are doing and how the glute is firing off. This is your screening. Without this, at this level, you're going to struggle, because either you're going to create overuse, or as we said, you're going to create underuse. And you yourself are responsible for putting this player in a safe manner, training him in a safe manner. But if you don't do this, you're not training him in a safe manner whatsoever. You are absolutely at fault for not really paying attention to what you're supposed to be paying attention.
I just want to know, all the professional players in the tennis, they do screening and testing?
They should. I'm not saying they all do. Okay, there's a lot of professional players that unfortunately don't have really good strength conditioning coaches, or their tennis coach does not understand this. So I would say some of them don't. Now, the higher level players, oh yeah, they all do. Absolutely, they all do. They all do. They all go through some sort of screening when it comes to this. They go through screening that's way more advanced as this, because they understand that their body at the end of the day is their temple. If this breaks down, their whole career breaks apart. One thing that happens with these guys as they get to higher level is they focus on three major aspects. One of them is physical. They make sure they're balanced. They make sure they're nutrition and physical. Put an umbrella. Physical is the umbrella because you put nutrition in there as well. So to make sure that they are balanced all the way through, to make sure they maximize the tennis specific body, and to make sure that whatever they put in, whatever fuel they put in as nutrition, it's going to give them the maximum output. Okay, so do they do this? Absolutely. The higher level guys, absolutely, and they have teams just they do this with them. The lower level, You might have a strength conditioning team, or the tennis coach will do stuff like this as they should. All right, so this is part of the screening. Now, I'm going to move to a second part of the screening in a little bit, but we're going to move to the testing just a bit. So I want to make sure you guys see this. All right, so with the physical evaluation, you have testing. You want to make sure we test speed, agility, power, coordination, muscular endurance, and endurance. These are the categories that really affect what we do as a tennis player. Now, this is something that I feel very strongly about. When we do testing, we just don't test to test. I'm going to show you the test that we do when it comes to, at least we'll show you the test. We'll describe it a little bit, but in the future, a whole different video training session will actually show you how to do the test, where to do the test, how to run the test. But here we're just going to give you an overview. Okay. In the future, again, we'll have a whole different presentation on this. But again, you want to make sure this is tennis specific. To give you an idea, this is a speed and agility test that we've done. I'm going to be very frank with you. We're on week 11. I completely made up the numbers for week 13, 15, 17, 19, but I just want to give you an idea of our graph. Because at the end, we use graphs a lot. We just started with this player, as I said. So we are right now in week 11 of the year. And when he did sideways shuffles, okay, he did a total of 14 times. That is true. The rest of it I made up. Okay, now please do not do this. This is just for presentation purposes. Okay, because here in 2 weeks, we're going to test them again. We are in our preseason. I want to test them every 2 weeks. Because the next question is, well, when should you test? We want to test, as we talked about on Monday, we want to test after tournaments to see where they're at. We want to test every 3 weeks if he's got a longer, okay, block of training. Or for a preseason, I do want to test them every 2 weeks. Because part of the testing is also part of his physical conditioning if we do this the right way. So now his testing, to give you an idea, this is some of his testing. You guys just saw the graph with some made up numbers. This is the real thing. Again, we just have one number. So week 11, sideways shuffles, he did 14. Now the sideways shuffles, we take a total of 10 feet. We put one cone and one cone. And I make sure for Shambuk himself, even though this can change, Shambuk, we measure 10 feet on the side. If you don't have a measuring tape, you can just do it with his feet, not yours. His feet right now, he's post-puberty, he's not going to grow that much anymore. So he can measure a total of 10 feet. Then from there, he starts on one, he straddles one cone. We say go 15 seconds. He goes to the other, then he comes back. And every time, so this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. And we go 15 total seconds. Then time, he stops and he gets 60 seconds of rest. Think about the ratio now. 15 seconds on, he gets 60 seconds break. Okay, so he's got a 1-to-4 ratio. 15 seconds of work, that's 1. You get 60-second break, that's 4. This is your tennis point. So 1-to-4 ratio, how we play. So this is how you are specific when it comes to his testing. We do a 1-foot box jump. We want to see how explosive he is with his feet. So we have a box, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. Again, it's a square. And we set it up. Again, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot. 15 seconds again, where he's moving around the box as many times as possible. If he's able to, for example, if I start at the back corner and he moves all the way around, that's 1. He moves all the way around, that's 2. If he gets to 2 of the 4 cones, that'll be 2.5. That's how we measure. We've standardized this when it comes to our players. From there now, so for example, when he did this, 1 foot box jumps. Okay, excuse me, 2 feet. We do 2 feet, not 1 foot. I apologize. Okay, he did a total of 5 times with this right. With this left, he did 5.25. Extremely close. We've had players that with 1 foot, they're able to do a certain number. And with the other one, they get a number much higher or much lower. We know there's imbalance. So we have to make sure we balance those players out. We have 4 foot box movements. Instead of now the 2 foot box, we now have 4 foot box, and they run around the box as many times as possible in 15 seconds with a 60-second break. 15 seconds on, 60 seconds off. And we are legit and exact when it comes to it. When they're getting a break, they're more welcome to get a little water, just relax, flush the feet a little bit, flush the legs, but then you're back on it. Once we say and we tell the player, hey, you got about 10 seconds, you got 5 seconds, we give them a thumbs up. They give us a thumbs up when they're ready to go. Okay? And then we go. So we standardize all the logistics when it comes to the testing. Front crossover is 8 feet. We measure something that's 8 feet. And then from there, we have the players now work on the most important step in the game, which is your crossover step. And then they shuffle back. And as you see, we work on a right crossover front,